Bonjour. It is Wednesday. It is again a little windy. I am in, where else would I be? The Musée du Louvre. I am in the back, the Cour Carré, and I am heading inside because on this date, Louis XIV, the Sun King, one of the longest ruling monarchies and kings in the history of the world. It might be, you gotta see what old Elizabeth over there in England is, because she's probably pretty close up there. So he actually died on this day. So I'm going to take you inside. I'm going to show you some of my favorite things. I know. And I'm going to take you in there, and I'm going to show you some of Louis XIV that's in the Louvre today. Some sculptures, some paintings, a couple statues. So come with me. So here's probably one of the most known images of Louis XIV, Louis XIV, who died today. It is by XIV Statue, and it was painted in 1701. And you could see, if you look closely, he's wearing heels, because at the time, it was men that wore heels. Get it, Louis? And he is in full regalia. He's got his sword, he's got his hand of justice, he's got a scepter, he has his crown, and he loved this painting. He actually had him make a couple copies of it, and he sent them to family around Europe. But it's here in this pretty dark room. It's on the Sully wing. It's on the first floor in room 601. And this right here, you might walk by and think, hey, that's just a carpet. This carpet was actually commissioned by Louis XIV. Charles Lebrun designed it, and it was for the Galerie d'Apple. So it sat in there for a long time. It then got moved over to the Grand Gallery. And then, of course, we couldn't have 10 million people a year walking on it. But it's gorgeous. These are the former rooms of the former ministry that was here. And look at the ceiling. Each room is painted. The ceiling is painted. And they're stunning. Oh wait, I'm going to take you back to this room. This room has, look at this. There he is. All golden. Of course, you have all the gold. You have his military pieces there. And then in this room, you have this gorgeous tapestry that depicts a day when the cardinal, that was the nephew of Pope Alexander, came to Versailles, and apologized to the king. Of course, the king is sitting there in the chair. And he apologized to him on behalf of his uncle, the Pope. But aren't these rooms gorgeous? A lot of people don't come here. Oh wait, ceiling. More ceiling. I could just give me all of the ceilings. And when you go into the rooms that don't have any, it's like rather a disappointment. But it's quiet at the Louvre, but don't miss these rooms because they're pretty amazing. I'll take you into the next one. Nobody. And Victory, you have Mercury there. All the allegories. Maybe I'll do one of the live Sunday videos and just do the ceilings. There's the Charles X Museum, and those have other ceilings. Oh, here's one. Hey, guess what? So just because you're in France, here's another great ceiling. It's pretty dark. But here in this corner, you recognize that guy? That's George Washington. Yeah, you didn't think you'd see him in the Louvre, did you? But it is pretty stunning. I think that maybe I could see if this could be my desk for when I'm working here in the Louvre. I bring my laptop to just sit here and answer questions, tell people what they're looking at all day. Dream come true. But yeah, see, it's very quiet. I don't know if you could see this because it's so backlit. Let me see. And look at the frame. Always look at the frames. Sometimes these lights really, oh, look at that. Stop it. How gorgeous is that? It's Louis the 15th. When he's younger. So gorgeous. And then you go to this next room. This is the beginning of the objet d'art rooms. And you have another great ceiling. But if you go through some of these rooms, oh, it's closed off today. Down that side, you have like actual interiors from other rooms. You have the travel case of Marie Antoinette. Look at all you have all your allegories, mythology. I'm kidding. Bet that most people have not been down this side. Okay, I've got some more Louis to bring you downstairs, and I'll show you that here in a bit. Okay, so now I'm down in the Richelieu wing. I'm down in the Corpus J. I'll try to find another word for my favorite, but I love coming in here. I was in here, I think it was in Marly the other day, and I was telling you how this was actually used to be a parking lot when it was the ministry's office, and when IMP redid and added the pyramid and redid the whole entire bottom of the Louvre, they added the ceiling, and they moved all of these sculptures here because they are so heavy that it was a perfect place to put them. But since it is the anniversary of the death of Louis the 14th, I had to come down here and share this one. So this is a small version of the statue that at one time stood in the Place Vendôme of Louis the 14th. It is gorgeous, of course. Hopefully you can see it without the light. It was done by Francois Girardon, and the small version was actually saved by one of my heroes, Alexandre Lenôtre, who saved tons of the monuments. He saved the tombs that were at Saint-Denis, quite a few of the sculptures and stuff in Paris, but sadly the original large Louis XIV was destroyed and melted down, but his foot actually remains, and a lot of times they have the foot on display right next to this, but it is not here, and it's huge, of course. It's like a 18-inch foot, but it's pretty amazing. I mean, just get up close, you have his sword and armor down here. I mean, look at how gorgeous all of this is. And of course his very curly hair. I mean, even like the, you know, the horses in motion. Gorgeous. But over here, I love these. And this is a common thing you'll see. There's actually they're 4 captives. And these were created and went around the base of another statue of Louis XIV that was in the Place des Victoires, over in the second, very close to Palais Royal. And these are the 4 captives, and they depict the nations that were defeated by France in 1678. And you have how they usually always depict the 4 captives as different ages. So I could start over here at the young guy, but look at how gorgeous all this is. Of course, the statue does not remain. But you have this guy here, and so he's the youngest of them. He is Spain, and he's depicted as looking up. He's hopeful. He's looking towards the future. The next one's over in the other corner, but since we're right here. This guy is of Brandenburg. He is depicted, he's kind of full of life. He's older in his life. He looks a bit sorrowful. Could you imagine these just around a statue though? In the Place Victoire. There's a little picture of it. I have to work around everybody that's stopping. And this guy here on the corner is the Holy Roman Emperor, and he is just, he's an old man. He's an old man, he's not doing well. He's in complete despair. You can see his chain, the handcuffs on his wrist. And then over there on that corner is the Dutch Republic. He's kind of more, you know, the 45-year-old guy. But they have all these shields that all have different, you know, there's a dragon, there's a lion, there's a lit torch. It's just amazing. And then around the edge is all of these bas-reliefs in bronze that depict different moments of the Louis XIV's life. And different allegories. Allegory of victory. I'll do a whole thing. I'll come back and do a whole thing about all of these. But they all have different moments in his life. But then I'm going to take you into this little hallway. If you look through here, you can see that's the Cour Marly. And it's a beautiful sunny day. So it's even better to sit down here. I'll turn around and give you a... I love to come sit in here, even if I just have an hour. And just sit here and soak it all in. But so this little hall, in between the two, is filled with all sorts of different statues. There's different cabinet members of Louis XIV and Louis XV. And then on this wall, I love these. And people I don't think stop and see them. But these are these 4 different bas-reliefs that are basically, they were dedicated to the king. Some of these artists actually created it so they could get into the Royal Academy. But this one, you see, there's Louis in the middle on the shield. This one is painting and sculpture allegory. You can see the tools of sculpture, of course, of painting. She's got a palette. Oh, just look at these. This one is poetry and music. Gorgeous. Got Louis up there. But you have, you know, instruments and books for poetry. And then, oh, real quickly, this. Guess who that is? Cleopatra. Okay, and now this side. This one is not dedicated to Louis XIV, but it's religion and heresy. Guess which was which? I think you could guess. He's got this dragon and he's a snake and he's holding on to these horrible things. And religion is, she has her foot on him and she's holding her cross. And this little guy appears holding the Bible. And he's looking down going, yeah, I told you so, buddy. And then, of course, there's this one. This is the god of health that's showing the bust of the king, and he is, after he's recovered, he had to have a surgery, he is recovered, so it's like, here's to this glory. The sketch of it was actually done by Charles Lebrun, and then Nicolas Cousteau created this bas-relief out of marble. But, I mean, you've got the shield with the Bourbon fleur-de-lis. It's amazing. It's just amazing. I love it. And the marble they used has a, I don't think you can see it there, but it has a little bit of sparkle to it. So that is, oh wait, we'll go over here. And then I'll walk you into the Cormarlie. And then I have to get out of the Louvre. I've been here for 3.5 hours. Here's another one. They're keeping track. I love that the Arago markers actually go through the Louvre. I think there's about 6 of them, 6 or 7. But you have this amazing little hallway. There's the pyramid, that's the center right over there. And then you have the Cormarlie. It's like a perfect, beautiful little inside garden. I mean, look at that. You can't make this up. And I wish the video and the pictures did it justice, but it is pretty amazing. Okay, I have one more thing to show you. Louis XIV, and it's outside the Louvre. So we're gonna go there next. And I need to go find something for lunch before I meet up with my client. So I'll see you again. It was outside the Louvre now. And there's this big statue, Louis XIV here. It's by Bernini. He actually designed this while Louis XIV was still alive. I gave it to him. Bernini, of course, was an Italian artist. He was brought to Paris by Louis XIV to actually design part of the Louvre. It never actually came to light, thank goodness. It needs to be French people. But he ended up creating this sculpture for him. He gave it to him, and the Sun King did not like it. In fact, he had it shoved into the Garden of Versailles in about as far of a corner as you could possibly get. It was then later, he ended up having another artist redo it. So they changed it so he's in kind of this very fancy garb. And then when I.M.Pei did the pyramid here, he added the statue here. The other cool thing about this statue is, I've talked about it before, you might have heard about the axis of Paris. It starts right here. So he's off kilter from the Louvre. He's not in the center. But if you follow Louis through the Arc de Triomphe carousel, you will go to, let's see, I don't know if you see it very well, but let's see. You would go, you see the obelisk, past that, you have the Arc de Triomphe, the end of the Champs-Élysées, at the top of the Champs-Élysées, and then past that is the Arc de la Défense. So it's this one line that just goes straight through, starting right here with Louis. But it's rather fitting, I think, because he has his back to the Louvre. He's charging off on his horse, which is pretty fitting because that's what he did. He was living here at the Louvre for a short period of time. He decided he didn't want to be here anymore when he's creating this splendid Versailles, and he left Paris. So here he is, I think he's here on his horse, riding away towards Versailles. So he got the heck out of here. But yeah, he looks quite fancy now, but it would be interesting to see the original. But he's just right here in front of the pyramid, in front of the Louvre, which this side was mostly all done by Napoleon III. I'm glad to see that they have changed out this billboard. It's now Cartier. Before that it was Balenciaga, and it was a giant picture of the Biebs, Justin Bieber, and it didn't work for me. So here's the courtyard. It is another gorgeous, gorgeous day. I will do another video soon of the courtyard here. It might be a live video because there's so much to talk about. We talk about all of the different pavillons. Here, the Pavillon Richelieu right there, the Pavillon Colbert, and then they're topped with all of these amazing statues that are dedicated to the great men of France, being artists and designers and scientists and architects and you name it. So it's here in the Cour Napoleon. Napoleon for Napoleon III. Anytime you see an N on this building or Napoleon, it's all Napoleon III. So some people, thanks to the American educational, they think there was only one Napoleon, but there was actually two that were emperors. Napoleon Bonaparte, of course, had a son. He named him the King of Rome. But he would never take the throne. And then Napoleon III, the nephew, came along. I haven't actually seen as many of the armed soldiers. There's another one around as usual. They're probably just in a different spot. And the large tourist attractions are sadly a good little target, but there's not that many people here. Usually you would have 100 or so people lined up there at the pyramid to get in. But I hate to give away the secret, but everybody goes here. They line up into it like sheep. They see a line, they go to it. But there's in fact two entrances over there on either side of the Arc de Triomphe, the Carousel. There's the Richelieu. There's also down, if you take a right at the end of the building, there's another entrance. There's also the exit that goes down to the mall that's underneath. So don't come here if you already have a ticket, which you should these days because that's how they're counting how many people come in. But that might be ending by the end of September. Even if you buy your ticket online in advance, once you have that, you could get into many of the other doors. This one is they kind of try to keep you, if you need to buy a ticket, in large groups. So, all right. This is my little friends, the keychain sellers. Alrighty. Here's one of my, I know, you guessed it. Should we just gonna play a drinking game every time I say my favorite. It's a Pavillon Sully. It's a Sully wing starts here. Or it's the Pavillon de Horloge. And you see the clock up there. This whole section here is where you could find information about the history of the Louvre itself. It has information about the history of it being a palace, then it has history of the change to the museum, and then it has history of the collection. So it has little examples of, it has Delacroix's paint palette in there. It has Greek and Roman statues. It has French paintings. So go and check that out. It's a Pavillon Colbert. And all the way around. All right. I am going to head out to my next spot.